You're on.
Well, welcome into Rattler Up with Coach Walsh, live from San Marcos High School in the Rattler Broadcast Studio. This is where you've got to be each Monday night to keep track of all things Rattler Nation. I'm your host, CJ Odam, and with me as always, head football coach and athletic director, Coach John Walsh. Coach, welcome into Rattler Up.
Good to be here. We got a lot to talk about.
We got plenty to talk about, but first of all, how was your Thanksgiving break?
It's always one of my favorites. I love Christmas. That's number one, but Thanksgiving's definitely number two, man.
There you go out of town. You have people come into you. How was yours?
Yeah, it worked out. We were, Maggie played in the Sun Belt tournament in Alabama, so we drove to Alabama and made it back on Monday, and then there was a possibility that they're going to play an NCAA tournament, so we couldn't travel because she was practicing. So we had Thanksgiving at our house, and it was quiet, 2 girls, and just us. It was good.
And speaking of that, Coach, you got to let us know. I mean, that the upsetness had to have been huge. The Texas State volleyball team had an incredible season. Former Rattler, Coach Walsh's daughter, Maggie, playing for that Texas State volleyball team. Incredible season, incredible performance in the Sun Belt tournament, and then do not get the at-large bid that many thought that they would get into that NCAA tournament. What was the thought process? What were you hearing on that?
Yeah, I think all the prognosticators, all the guesses on the internet had them in the top. Every bracket you saw had them in the top 64.
Right. I saw their record against teams that had made the tournament, and it just made no sense.
TCU made it. I'll give you the best example is TCU made it. They didn't win the conference, the Big 12 conference, all with Texas and Baylor, and they finished 4th or something, 5th, and we went up to TCU and beat them at their court, and they get in. And we don't. So I thought James Madison and us both should have got in, but it is what it is.
No, that's the NCAA for you. So hopefully better luck for them next year, but a huge season. Really cool to see a Rattler alum out there doing great things. Well, this week on Rattler Up, we're going to get caught up on all the winter sports that are now in season in Rattler Nation, and there are plenty.
Yes.
Plus, we have live in studio. We will be joined by members of the girls basketball team alongside their head coach, Jermaine Irvin. All that and more here this week on Rattler Up. But, Coach, tell us a little bit about the shift that you make as an athletic director. Now the football season is over and we transition into winter sports, especially with so many going on at one time.
Right, I get to be more involved. During football season, volleyball is going on at the same time, and even with my daughters when they were playing, it was so hard to manage the football season and to get anywhere else but the football. But we're able to get over there. So, our football has shifted to the off season. We're going to try to make them bigger, faster, stronger, and that's a piece of my day. But the bigger piece is the excitement of everything else. We got 2 great basketball teams getting after it. We got our middle school basketballs on Thursday night. Soccer started this week, boys and girls. I got here this morning at about 5:45, and the golf team was already on a bus ready to go somewhere.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. I get to be in a lot of different places and be around a lot of parents and kids.
Well, it's an exciting part of the Rattler Nation season, and we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at a Rattler Nation update now and see just where we stand on winter sports across all of San Marcos. And Coach, you mentioned a few of them, so let's take a look at what exactly is in season. Like you said, soccer hasn't had a game yet, but boys and girls soccer, they've kicked off now. They'll start playing games first week of December. You got boys and girls basketball, you got golf, you got wrestling, you got swim, you got tennis. I mean, we've got 14, 16 sports in season at one time. Take us a little bit more in the details about especially how the training changes. You have strength and conditioning when you got football and volleyball, but now that you got all these sports in season, I imagine the strength and conditioning becomes even more crazy.
Yeah, because you got out of the season training, you got in-season training happen all at one time, and you have 2 weight rooms, which is a luxury, but it's still not enough. I mean, to manage our facility at this time is tough because luckily we have turf everywhere. So when it's a good day like it is today, the boys were out at the stadium practicing soccer, the girls were on the JV field, the track field, and then all day long, morning and evening, we have to have Coach Thompson's got to have a great schedule to manage those weight rooms because you have to train in season and out of season, and it's if anybody gets busy, that guy, Coach Thompson, gets busy.
I imagine that's where you talk about facilities. We've got a lot of people have seen the indoor football field by now, but this season, and especially in the spring, those 4 curtains that can come down come into play. Tell folks about how we can divvy up that stadium.
Yeah, it's fun. So when we get weather, and we're going to get it in January and February. It's every year. We're going to get it to where you can't. It's not even safe to practice outside because of the ice and just breathing cold air. We're able to. We have in 2 in two. We make it 4 quadrants. We can lower down dividers, and we have the baseball with the batting cage. We can lower down. We have a softball with a batting cage. We can lower down, and then we can put the soccers adjacent to them. So I like it. I mean, a lot of places are made just for football fields, and you can kind of all get in there at one time. But this was designed to take care of your athletic program, and it's a great design.
Well, and it's really great for that exact situation because, again, in the spring, it's going to be just like the winter. All these sports going on all at the same time. So let's take a look at what exactly is going on right now. So like you mentioned, wrestling and soccer, those are just getting underway. We're going to have some tournaments upcoming. Swim is really in mid-season form, right?
Right.
They've been going on. They've already competed a few times. They have their district meet in January. They start pretty early in the fall. Are they considered a winter sport ultimately?
Yeah, they're a winter sport.
All right, tell folks about the unique arrangement that our swim team has for practice and the facility usage.
It's difficult because between transportation, we don't have a natatorium. We don't have our own pool. We need, as I plead to the people, we need a natatorium because a natatorium can be used in so many ways, not just your swim team. You can build a water polo team. You can include your elementary schools and middle schools. I mean, a natatorium is great for
field days for the younger kids.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's such a tool that you can use for your younger kids. But right now we have a great relationship with San Marcos Academy. They have a pool, and we have to contract with them. But we have to get a bus every morning. We have to have our kids on the bus, travel over, get back for school, clean up. So it's a pretty good chore. Coach Dawkins and Coach Valdez have. But they do a good job with it, and Coach Walsh did a good job before on that arrangement because I've never had any issues. I think we left a kid one time for practice when I first got here, but we were able to pick him back up. But now we don't. It's been a great relationship. They treat us well. We treat them well, and we're getting it done right now.
Well, they've got an invitational coming up December 9th, and then district in January. So again, they're in full swing. Now another team. Again, we don't have a golf course. We need a golf course too, Coach, because our golf team
that'll be a little harder.
Have to send them away. So talk to us about what situation we've got to get your golf team the practice they need, and even hosting tournaments.
They're in similar situations, and EJ's got us. When I first got here, they told me we didn't have a home golf course, that we couldn't get on Kissing Tree. But now Coach Munguia's done a really good job of getting us into 2 or 3 places. I know we do some work at Texas State. We're on Kissing Tree, and they do this. It's the same routine. They have to get a bus,
right?
And
some extra hours involved for those athletes.
Yeah, and it makes their days long. Swimming and golf. Those are long days because you got your education you got to take care of, the normal classroom work, and you have to travel to practice. We get taxed in other sports because we travel to games. They travel every day, so it's tough to manage.
Right. Well, and then of course we know we're going to talk girls basketball here in a little bit, and we'll talk some boys basketball in depth. We'll get those guys in the studio as well. But boys basketball, they're in full swing. 9 games into their overall schedule, their pre-district schedule, I will say. They sit at 7-2 overall. They have just 1 tournament loss, 1 non-district loss to speak of. And now this is a team led by a group of seniors that have been playing together at high levels for a long time. This is Abel Trevino, Jaden Brown, Caden Gums, Malik Presley, Isaiah De Leon, Mateus Perkins. This is a group, Javen, exactly. Coach, how big is it for a group of players like this to get to share time on the same court or field in whatever sport together for so long as a unit?
Yeah, it's you can't replace it, and I think some of those kids started since they were freshmen. And they play in the summer. They play in the summer against each other or with each other some. But just the experiences they've gone through and learned from. They've had a lot of success already, but they've had some failure too. So they've played really good teams. They've played top 2 teams. They played Westlake when they were a top 5 team. So they've played great competition. They've been to the battles together. And Coach Miller has a great culture over there on just a brotherhood. You hear him talking about a brotherhood.
Right.
And what I love about that program right now, it's very unselfish. It's easy for any of there's about 4 or 5 guys on that team that could make it about themselves because they are overly talented and they are national recruits, but they don't. They're very humble, and I think the lessons they've learned over the years are going to turn into a pretty good playoff run for us.
Absolutely, and we are going to talk a lot about them when we get Coach Miller and some of those players on. But just a few of those highlights. Caden Gums, first of all, we had one of our more recent signings, has signed to play with Texas State. He's been out for the season so far with an injury, but when do we expect to see him back on the court for the Rattlers?
So I'm pretty sure he's got a doctor's appointment this week to get reevaluated. His timetable was to get back the first week of December. Hopefully we get good news. It's not a major injury right now, but it's one we had to take care of so it doesn't get major. So, he's our quarterback on the basketball court. So when we get him back, we've been playing good ball already. When we get him back, we're going to be a force.
Well, that's what's exciting. You go 7-2 with the schedule that Coach Miller has purposely put on this team
Right.
to challenge them, and you take away somebody the caliber of Caden Gomes, you still go 7-2. That's exciting.
No doubt.
Of course, you got Mateus Perkins, currently unsigned, highly recruited, top 25 in the nation with 5 double-doubles, averaging 12.7 points a game, 10.2 rebounds, shooting 65%. And then you got Malik Presley, also unsigned but heavily recruited, top 25 in the nation in field goals made, free throws made, and double-doubles. He's averaging 24.9 a night. Talk a little bit about the process, and we could do a whole segment on this probably later on in the season, but that these kids go through to get noticed and ultimately get signed and continue their careers at the college level.
So basketball is a little different than football. Basketball is the select world, is where basketball budgets for colleges aren't as big as the football budgets for colleges. Mm-hmm. So they go to these showcases, they go to these big summer AAU tournaments, and they can see 6 Malik Presleys and Caden Gomes in one place, in a 2-hour span. So that's where most of the recruiting takes place. What I have liked about Coach Miller, we hired him from the college ranks, so he's got lots of connections. So we have seen lots of college coaches on our facility. This last spring, they were in here every week,
right.
And I'm talking about big-time programs. So it takes Coach Miller reaching out. It takes our guys, and really, no matter how the recruiting process is per sport, the boys and girls got to play. If you want to be D1, you got to play D1. And
right.
we can't lie to these coaches. They know what they're doing. So our boys have been doing their part. And shout out to the parents, because there's a lot of traveling taking place. I did it with Maggie in volleyball. There's a lot of traveling taking place
right.
to get these kids to these AAU tournaments and get them seen. And not to mention, it costs a lot of money. So the parents play
a heavy investment.
Yeah, the parents play a huge part in the recruiting process.
Now, we're going to talk some more boys basketball sooner in other episodes of Rattler Up. But next up for them tomorrow night, they take on Central Catholic here in the Snake Pit. But when we come back from break, we're going to keep it on the courts as we transition over to girls basketball, and we'll be joined live in studio with a few players from the team and their head coach, Jermaine Irvin. And during this break, producer Josh has created a great hype video for the girls. So check that out and keep it here on Rattler Up.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be. They stop and stare when they see me. If it's said it once, no need to repeat. Run up on me, watch you fall to your knees. Tip my hat when it's time for the kill. Ain't no beast when you're really real. I am the boss, I am the Don. I am the one they call Lucky Charm. Got my own, I don't need your farm. Life was so hard, it made me weak. Built to last, this girl ain't weak. Sturdy and still when I plant my feet. Got it out the mud, now it's racks in my sleep. Look to God, he supplies my needs. Endless faith is what brought me next level prosperity. Silent power moves is what I'm giving. They love to hate the world they can't live in. Always present for the high roads. Go swim within the deep lows.
All right, welcome back to Rattler Up with Coach Walsh, live from the Rattler broadcast studio. We are joined now by members of the girls basketball team at San Marcos High School and their head coach, Jermaine Irvin. Coach, ladies, welcome into Rattler Up.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, well, Coach, we want to start with you. Just let people know a little bit about yourself, your background, and just what brought you here to Rattler Nation.
It's not a lot to say. Originally from Abilene, Texas. Went to Hardin-Simmons. My family moved to California. I came back here, was able to coach at the middle school in Austin. And from there, I was able to get a high school coaching position at the girls at Travis High School. From there, I went back to the boys' side and then did 3 years at Elgin High School. Did a year at Aikens, and then Coach Walsh gave me a lifeline and got me over here at San Marcos. And I did a year as the varsity assistant, and this will be my second year as the head coach.
All right, well, we're excited to have you, Coach, to be a part of Rattler Nation for sure. Now, the girls have been on the road quite a bit in pre-district schedule, 6-4 overall, just 2 games at home so far. Both wins, though, over Taft and Canyon. So, Coach, tell us a little bit about your setup for pre-district, how you set this pre-district schedule up. Lots of tournaments, obviously, but kind of talk to us about what goes into getting these girls ready for district with that pre-district schedule.
Last year was a little easier because we had such a big district, so our games, our out-of-district games weren't a lot of games that we needed to find. This year, with us going to a smaller district, we had to go ahead and do the 3 tournaments to help us get our number. And then at that point, we had to find teams that weren't, playing district games early. And so this year, I really didn't want to play teams that were too far away, but I wanted to play high-quality teams. So we're playing a lot of 5A state qualifiers, 4A state qualifiers. So we're playing a lot of teams with a lot of senior leaderships, tough teams, but we're going to play them on the road so we can get them all at home next year.
Nice. Well, you got my hometown Lytle Pirates coming into town, so I'm excited for that game.
Yes.
I'm going to be rooting for the Rattlers. Just tell my hometown right now. I was a Pirate. I am a Rattler. So.
Okay.
Well, let's go a chance to meet our players now. So why don't you take turns, guys? Just introduce yourself. Tell us your name, what grade you're in, and what position you play on the team.
My name is Sailor Upshaw. Wait.
You're good. It's working. Don't worry.
Okay, my name is Sailor Upshaw. I'm a senior, and I'm a forward.
My name's Azari Fennell. I'm a freshman, and I'm a guard.
My name is Ezra Tobias. I'm a sophomore, and I'm a point guard.
All right. So same question for all of you. What are some of your goals for this season in your for basketball this year? And I'll start with you.
My goal is just staying together with my team, and just we're trying to go to playoffs. We're trying to beat all of our games and go to state. So, yeah.
Mine is to build relationships and get to know these girls more, and hopefully come out with more wins this season.
One of my goals is to incorporate 3 of our freshmen that have came over here and to build relationships with them because I'll be with them for 3 years.
All right. So talking a little bit more about just some of the bringing the freshmen in and some other things. What are some of the things that you're most excited about for this season particularly? You've all been playing for a while. What's got you excited about this season and this team? And we'll start over here.
I'm ready to see us grow and communicate and get together. We have struggled with that, but we're getting better with it.
I'm really excited to get to see us all play together as a team and get to know each other more.
I'm excited, just like the same thing Ezra said. I'm excited to grow with this team and just try to reach all of our goals this season working together.
And I'll add to that, just because there's so many different, there's older talent, and there's definitely is there 3 freshmen? Yes. The 3 freshmen, and then we had a freshman last year. So it's all different levels, and it's all talent. And I think the girls are saying the right thing. They just got to get it all meshed together by district play, and it's going to be some fun basketball.
And so, Coach, talk to us a little bit about the same thing. You've been here for 3 years, second year in the head coaching role. What's different about this season now that you've that second year is definitely going to be huge for you, right? You've got the foundation laid out the way you want it. So what's different about this year? What's got you excited about this season?
Well, the biggest difference is last year we had a whole bunch of seniors that had played a lot of time, and they could kind of nurture us through troubled waters because they played so many games together. Like Coach Walsh talked about earlier with the boys, these girls they played basketball together since 4th, 5th grade. This year, we kind of had to lay the foundation, and that's why a lot of them are saying we're anxious and we're excited to grow together, get to know each other, because we have 3 freshmen, 3 sophomores, a junior, and 4 seniors. Wow. And so we're real young, and then our seniors, they didn't play a lot freshman and sophomore year. They were on varsity, but they weren't getting a lot of minutes. So it's been instrumental for them to play. We've played more games than we practiced together. Wow. With our girls coming from volleyball. So them learning and growing together on the court, and then us implementing our system, I'm very excited about the high-level basketball we can play and the excitement we can play getting up and down the court.
And bringing in those top-tier talents for opponents is key to seeing that growth happen, I guess.
Yes, sir. We have played Fredericksburg, which is a very talented team, and they'll probably be at the state tournament again. We played Austin High. They're one of the top teams in the area as well as the state. And we showed up, you know, as a young team, and we had some setbacks. We spotted Austin High like 18 points, came back to take a lead, and their senior leadership with their 4 D1 players kind of caught us at the end. We ended up losing by 5 or 7 points. And then Fredericksburg, their system is, these girls have been playing that system since they were 3rd grade. They play a very pretty game of basketball, and for our girls to withstand that and try to put themselves in a situation to play, it's remarkable.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we're going to go. You can check the screen over here to the side. We're going to take a look at some highlights that we're going to get queued up here. And so as they come up, you don't have to give us the exact play-by-play on every single highlight, but as they come up, just take us through some of the things that we're seeing here. Should be popping up on the screen here momentarily. Here we go. Just some things that we're seeing from the Lady Rattlers so far this season.
Well, this was our opening game, and just the 3-point shooting from one of our juniors, our only junior, Bailey Guzman, and now we're getting out in transition. Another 3 by Bailey, good pass by Ezra. Just kind of gelling, finding each other. Sailors knocking down shots against Westwood right there. Amaya Moore right there going baseline. That's a nice move. Sailor's been extending her range, and
Nice.
she's been shooting 3s. Ezra attacking the basket. Azariah right there finishing one of our layups. Ezra dribbling through the defense. And Sailor shooting a 3 from the corner.
You know, just watching them. I walk through practice every now and then, and we're very athletic. We can run, and I haven't seen us play yet, but I think we should be able to play some good defense with all the athleticism we got.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the ball movement looks real crisp, too, which is something, obviously, that's coming from a team that's starting to gel. Am I right?
Yes, that the Marble Falls tournament was instrumental for these girls. They were able to get up and down the court and really get to gel together. They like to play in the open court. They want to run. They want to be athletic, get stops, and this is what's showcased on the screen right now.
Awesome. Well, girls, we always like to let the viewers know a little bit more about you than just the basketball. And some of you have actually been on the show before for other things. So take a moment and let people know what else you do at San Marcos High School outside of basketball. Go ahead.
I'm usually with my family. I love kids. I love being around my nieces and nephews, so I'm usually with family outside of basketball, and I like to be with them. So.
Cool.
And,
Coach is making sure the National Honor Society is mentioned. All right.
I play volleyball, and I also run track outside of just basketball. And then I'm also an active member in FCA, which is really fun. And I like to spend time with family and friends when I can.
Awesome.
Member of the Superintendent's Council.
Oh, nice. There we go. They forget how to brag on themselves.
Hey, you're forgetting key things.
I like to spend time with my family, my cousin, my little cousin. I like to paint and draw and stuff outside of school. But yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, finally, before we let you go, we always want to give the kids a chance to get some shout-outs. So you got a live mic and a television camera. Who do you want to send some shout-outs to back home?
Shout out to my mom and dad. They're my world. Shout out to my coach. Shout out to all my family. Love you guys.
Shout out to my mom, my grandma, and my friends and teammates.
Shout out to my parents, my grandparents, and I love y'all.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming in. The girls basketball team, head coach Jermaine Irvin, thank you for being on Rattler Up, and good luck to a great season. Thank you. All right.
Thanks,
y'all
girls.
can slide out there. Appreciate you being on Rattler Up.
You bet. Thank y'all.
All right. Well, Coach, we're excited. We saw the highlights. The girls basketball team, it's going to be an exciting season for them as well. We got a lot of great stuff going on in the Snake Pit in the winter and the spring.
I knew it was going to be good in the gym. Our boys, we saw that coming for a year or two now, but man, those girls, those 3 freshmen that are there are bringing a lot of athleticism, and they're good players. And when you can bring young and old talent together, and if Coach Irving can figure out how to get it all to mesh, and like the girls said, that you can tell they want to. They know they're not. Evidently, they're not playing like they want to be as a unit just yet, because they all 3 referenced it. So when they get there, it's going to be good ball.
Yeah, the mindset is definitely they know where they need to
Absolutely.
be, and that's key, right? Well, that's going to do it for this week's Rattler Up. We are so glad to get caught up on the millions of things that seem to be going on here lately in Rattler Nation. Coach, the business just builds and builds and builds each week for you, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, but you wouldn't have it any other way, I wouldn't think.
No, it's why we're in the business.
Exactly. Well, before we go, we want to remind people again all the opportunities they'll have to catch the Rattlers in action this week. Boys basketball will be home tomorrow night, taking on Central Catholic. Varsity starts at 7 o'clock, so come on out to the Snake Pit. Girls basketball will be just down the road in Navarro tomorrow night. Varsity at 6:15, and then they'll head to San Antonio for the NEISD tournament throughout the weekend. Wrestling team in San Antonio this weekend at Roosevelt High School for the Rough Rider Invitational. And this segment of the show will get increasingly more difficult to get in as the season progresses, because I'm going to have a lot of previews coming up
No doubt.
in the next few weeks. Well, Coach, before I let you go, the Cowboys gave us a terrific Thanksgiving present, the 28-20 victory over the Giants. They host the Colts Sunday Night Football this week. Are they a top 3 team in the NFC now?
Man, you know, we got to be careful as fans. You know, they do this to
We're
us
going
a
to the
lot.
Super Bowl!
They do this to us a lot, but man, they sure, you know, Dak just keeps getting better and better. And if we can here's the thing. I think if we stay healthy, I think we got a shot to advance pretty deep.
Now, I was going to ask you this question already, and then the flight happened. Do you want Odell Beckham?
Man,
And I was going to ask you this before the flight, but now the flight,
you know,
could
his
change that.
talent's there. I would say yes, just because he's already shown he can go to a team late in the season and help with the Rams and help them win it. So, and he's not, to me, he's never done. He's not been a character guy. He's just been he's kind of been a flashy. Maybe it's a little bit about me guy, but man, he's talented. If you get CD in there and Gallup and him, then that's pretty potent.
Well, you know what?
And he was just asleep on the plane. What's the big deal?
Greg Popovich made Dennis Rodman work for the Spurs.
That's right.
Anybody can make anything happen.
No doubt.
All right, well, that's going to do it for Rattler Up. We want to thank VYPE and our producer, Josh, for putting together this huge platform to showcase Rattler Nation each week. Also, thanks to Jack Moore and all the student techs here in the Rattler Broadcast Studio for your hard work in making this show run so well. So that does it for this week. For Coach Walsh, I'm CJ Odam. Thanks for watching Rattler Up.